So I want to welcome everyone to this. This is a very quick kind of session. We're going to go very, very quickly through a couple different things just to get to know each other. And then we're going to talk about something called the most important sentence in the world. So I'm going to share my screen here. And okay. So we're going to talk about, can everyone see this fine?
We're seeing the next slide too, Chris, just so you know.
You are, okay. Then I am going to, does that work?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So, so basically what this is this is just a brief overview to let you know kind of who I am as a TA provider, and then really to work through one of our pieces that we had that I had been involved with in really helping people understand kind of everything that they do, all the different pieces that they do within their life, their professional or personal life, and kind of culminate it and pull it down into a very quick sentence to talk about it. So really what this is just, a couple different ways. We're going to have some time to read over a couple different sentences from different organizations who've done this. And then hopefully we'll have time for you to pull this together and do it yourself, and then share out if you would like to. So as this is kind of a half-an-hour session, feel free to have your camera on or off if you would like to, depending on whether you're an extrovert or introvert. Feel free to, to jump in, ask questions. Since Zoom is set up where I can't really see the chat so easily, you're going to have to unmute yourself and kind of jump in and let me know. But feel free to jump in if you would like to. So I'm going to start off with this picture. What I love about this picture, and this is from a group of us at the Mentor Connector. What I love about this is that you're going to see kind of in the middle, there's a girl who is not so happy. And I love the fact that everybody is really happy. Now, mind you, this is a completely staged picture, but she was not staged. So everybody else was like, okay, be happy, be fun. And she was not having it at that moment. And what I love about this is that, we can create the best intentions that we want to. We can create the best programs. We can do kind of pull things out of our hat and create things. But really at the end of the day, things happen, and we all have to understand that this is life and this is reality. And we just kind of have to roll with the punches. And make the best of things. So that's what I love about this picture, is that not everything goes our way. So I am Chris Hultquist. I'm the executive director of the Mentor Connector in Rutland, Vermont. So I've been there about 6 years. Kind of background, I'll go into my background in a second, but I'm also a TA provider. And so these are about half an hour time frames for TA providers to kind of share a little bit of what we do, how we work with organizations, and just to give you kind of a brief snapshot, and then also let you hopefully learn something through these 30 minutes. So just to give you an overview of kind of who I am and what I do. So my background is in mental health counseling and in kind of organizational development. And so I've worked with about 35 different organizations across New England, really helping them build organizational development strategies, evaluation, really talking about sustainability, grant writing, a lot of different things. So what I can do, what I typically do with programs as a TA provider is really look at, help design different program pieces within the program to say whether it's goal setting, whether it's working with specific type of youth. We've developed programs that target runaway and homeless youth programs, pregnant and parenting teens, working with juvenile justice and delinquency, and also specifically working with foster care youth. And youth with an array of mental health issues. And so really helping tailor programs to meet the needs of youth across the board. And then really looking at the evaluation and performance indicators. And really what the performance indicators are is kind of like that end goal. What are you looking for as an end goal with your program? And then how do you kind of work your way back to make sure that you have the tools in place to make sure that you are moving forward and you're going to meet that end goal in 5 or 10 years, whatever the time frame is. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use. Some are really helpful for smaller programs, some are helpful for larger programs, but it really is kind of working in an array of different types of programs to really see how can we really affect community change. So one of my biggest passions, and you'll see up at the top, is social innovation. Is I just believe I'm working with quite a few different individuals who are through the University of Pennsylvania, and really looking at how we can use community or social innovation techniques that are happening around the world and implement them into Vermont. So for example, there's a handful of programs working in India and really bringing information and education around poverty and around really helping youth and women specifically in the social entrepreneurship ideas and business development, really create businesses and to help reduce poverty in certain areas. And so I've been working in that field for, gosh, about 10 years now, kind of trying to figure out how do we bring programs together to really create community change, because I believe that really bringing social innovation, if you bring the business concepts and connect them with mental health resources, what we tend to get is really innovative programming, but then also effective programming that is self-sustaining. So you can actually have programs that make money, and then you don't have to necessarily go back out for grants every year. And that's kind of the key with it. But you're here for the most important sentence in the world. So, you know what happens is that most of the time I find that a lot of us, what we do is we kind of stumble through, how do we explain what we do as a professional, within an organization. For example, you show up to the Rotary, to your local Rotary, and you get to meet 500 different people, right? You get to introduce yourself over and over and over again. And sometimes you get into a pattern to be able to tell what you do really well. And sometimes it's really challenging, right? Sometimes there are, those challenges of like, okay, well, how do I explain to somebody who's never heard about mentoring before, or doesn't really have a background in mentoring, what I do and the different pieces that I do. And it's really funny because I actually was talking with somebody from India, a couple months ago, and really trying to explain to them very quickly and succinctly what mentoring is when there's really no cultural concept for mentoring. And so this is really why I wanted to have this training and talk about this, because it's, a very quick sentence that you can use in marketing, in talking with youth, and really talking with the community about what you do. And so you can use this sentence for your organization, your professional role, or you can use it personally for your personal role. So the ideas behind this is that you really want 3 key points. So the whole point is that you want this one sentence, to be very clear, very quick, and very confident. So this clarity is really, you're just explaining your purpose and your activities that you're using. The very, very succinct things. You want it to be quick. So you want it just to take a few seconds. A lot of people say an elevator speech, that just a couple minutes that you have in the elevator going from like floor 1 to floor 4. Well, this is that first sentence of that elevator speech. You're really trying to get, connect with that individual right away to help them see what you do and really draw them in. And then the third is really confidence. It's practicing this over and over and over again, just to get to know, what you do and kind of get a feel of it. Because the more you practice, the more confident you're going to get. So really, this is just basically just a concept of just 2 different pieces. So the first thing is you start off with, my goal is to. Now, of course, you don't have to, but this is the best way to kind of give an overview of, so my goal is to, and then you give your vision. So this is your vision of your organization, vision of, personally, if you have a small business that you're running on the side, maybe an Etsy business, really what's the vision of that business? I mean, beyond making money or beyond, within the mentoring field, beyond just like matching mentors to youth, what are we actually trying to achieve? What does that look like? What is that end goal within the community? And so you create that, you tell that vision, and then you say the second piece is, how do you produce that vision? So really, the key here is what sets you apart from everybody else. Now, in your mentoring organization, it could be the question of what sets your mentoring organization apart from every other mentoring organization in New England or in Vermont or in your small town. The idea behind this is really to give the listener a very clear and succinct overview of what you do in a very impactful and kind of like empowering way. You want them to feel energy from this, and you want them to want to know more. So I'm going to go through a couple examples, but first we're going to start with like a typical greatest sentence or most important sentence. So typically what we find is that people say, my goal is to help people be their better selves by making things and dreaming of possibilities, right? It's very generic. It's very much like we have no idea what they're talking about. We have no idea what they do, and we have no idea what kind of people they're working with, right? It's just like, it sounds good. It has some great concepts to it, but it's really, really vague. So the the Center for Social Impact Strategy at the University of Pennsylvania has this: my goal is to build and support a global community of effective change makers by designing and delivering innovative residential and online learning experiences. Now, I get that this is really wordy, and it's really hard to kind of say this. Like, if you're at the Rotary and you're saying this like 20 times, this is going to be very, very difficult to say every time. But really, it very succinctly kind of tells you what exactly they do, right? They're looking for change makers. That's really what they're wanting. They're looking for the global community, and they're designing and delivering residential and online learning experiences, right? Those are the two key pieces that they're using to create the change makers. Okay, the next one is Beat the Streets in Philadelphia. So Beat the Streets is a mentoring and wrestling organization, as you're going to see. And so they had said to empower youth to positively alter life's trajectory for themselves and their communities by creating mentoring and wrestling programs that instill the core values of grit, compassion, service, and team. So this one is very different than the previous one, right? We're going to see that it really is about, they use the word empower, which, like it or not, empower is kind of like this nebulous word that we don't really know what it means. But they really go into it that they want to alter life's trajectory for themselves and their communities, for youth. Like, that is their ultimate goal. And how do they do it? By creating mentoring and wrestling programs that instill core values. So it sounds like from this organization, they focus on two different things: mentoring and wrestling, right? Those are the two pieces that we take away from this. And then really looking at the core values of grit, compassion, service, and team. And we're gonna be able to kind of dissect this and look at these in a second and say kind of what would you do to change this, and then we're gonna take some time to write our own for ourselves. Now, mind you, the idea here is it's really kind of cool because we have a lot of mentoring organizations connected, right? So really, the second part is going to be very interesting because what I'm going to encourage you to do is find, how do you set yourself apart from all of the other mentoring organizations on this call? What does that look like? Why should a donor, and now I totally understand that we are not in competition, But really, it's about why should a donor give to your organization or our organization, as opposed to, you know, a different type of organization in the community. You know, even another youth service organization. What about your organization is really compelling that people should donate or people should volunteer with it? So the third is this is an education program out in Mexico, and it's to improve the employability of college-age youth in Juarez, Mexico, by strengthening their artisan craft skills and personal development through hands-on training. So really what this is a completely different one, but it really kind of culminates down to help individuals understand, okay, so the first part is, what is their vision? Their vision is to improve employability, right? And the second is, how do they do that? They do that by strengthening their artisan craft skills and personal development. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, if you're willing to, you don't of course have to, but why don't you unmute and, you know, take a stab at this one and say, like, how would you change it? Do you think that this one or the beat the streets, would you change it? Is it too wordy? Like, what are your thoughts on these two? I'm going to give you a second, or else I'm going to start calling on people, because that's always the fun thing. Gabe is going to be the first one I call on. And then it's Rebecca.
Chris, will you repeat your question again, please? This is Nancy.
Absolutely, Nancy. So why don't you take a look at this one and say, what do you think about this? Would you, if you worked in this organization, does this tell you exactly what you do? Would you change anything about this?
The part I would change, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I think the artisan craft skills and personal development through hands-on training is too much. Like, I think it's all important. So I'm trying in my brain, that's the piece that, like, I am trying to reword in my brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's really hard to do, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to kind of, especially if you have a program that has many different pieces and components to it, it's really hard to minimize that down. But the last thing that funders or even mentors want to hear, or potential mentors want to hear, is, so let me give you a 20-minute overview of what I do and all of the different components of my organization. Like, realistically, nobody cares. I mean, not to be mean, but they really don't in the first 2 seconds. They want to hear that you are saving the world and that they can be a part of saving the world with you. And this is how you're saving the world. And it's like, wow, I never thought of that before. And that's a completely new way to do that. So it's so exciting. You know, that's the whole point behind it. But thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for jumping in. Anybody else?
Chris, I would say that I definitely prefer this one to the previous two.
Oh,
This one is crisper and cleaner.
absolutely. What do
And
people
easier
think of?
to easier.
Let me switch back to the last one. What do we think of this one? Does anybody have a thought? So this is very close to a mentoring organization, right? So they do mentoring and they do wrestling. So thank you, Nancy, for that thought. That, I mean, I would say that probably most of us in the mentoring field would probably want to put in all of our different kind of pieces that we do. So creating mentoring and wrestling programs that instill the core values of grit, compassion, service, and team is the second part. Now, if you were a potential funder, would you need to hear that to understand the organization?
It makes me wonder, are there two separate programs, mentoring and wrestling, or is it one program? Because I would word it differently if it's one program.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do sound like two different programs, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
And they might be, but really at the very first meeting of somebody who works in this organization, I don't think that that's the question that you want to come up with. it really is just, what do you do? And how do you do it? Okay, so for time, we're going to take time and let you write out your one sentence. So this, I'm gonna try to, whoops, sorry. I didn't put this Google Doc in here, but I can put this in the chat in a second if you want to go back to it. But really, and then the next slide is really, is that picture. So it really is writing your own my goal is to. So it's going to look exactly like this, but my goal is to blank by blank. What is your goal? Let's go ahead and take a minute and write out your own, that you would just very brief kind of draft overview of what yours would be. And if you would be willing to share it out. This is the exciting time of people seeing if people are going to actually do it or not.
You need Jeopardy music or something. I think you should sing to us, Chris.
You want me to sing to you? I should have had background music. It's so funny. We'll see. We'll see if people are actually doing it. I have coworkers that are on this, so I'll have to start calling on my coworkers to make sure people are actually doing this. Because this is the idea behind this, is really to get to kind of draw the audience in right at the beginning and to culminate kind of what we do as well. I think one of the challenges, especially in mentoring world, because it's a newer field or younger field, you know, the goal is really hard to kind of identify. What is our goal? Is our goal simply to make matches? Is our goal to reduce poverty? Is our goal to reduce suicide? You know, is our goal to kind of enhance protective factors for youth? Kind of what is that goal and what does that look like? We'll just take one more minute and we'll see if anybody has anything that they're willing to read out. If you don't, you can take this time to stand up and walk around. Or go outside. I think it's sunny today, which is amazing. But Stephanie, it looks like wherever you are, there's snow. There's not.
Not snow, it's Florida, actually.
Oh, no way. It's so funny. It does, the white behind you, it looked like it was snow, but it must just be the reflection. It's the sun, I think. Or else snow is coming to Florida, maybe.
No.
Okay, so who has some one that they're willing to share out? We can have any brave souls. Megan.
So I am not good at doing this fast. So I took part of what we had before and tried to put it into one sentence. So, so we create and support mentorships between caring adults and local youth to empower them to help build healthier communities.
Great. So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Feel free, please.
Good to repeat it one more time in terms of getting thoughts.
Oh gosh. Okay. I didn't write it all down. So we create and support mentorships between caring adults and local youth to help, local youth to empower them to help build healthier communities.
It
So
doesn't
one
seem
idea
specific
is to
enough,
switch
but
them.
oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, Rebecca, one idea is to switch them. So maybe the goal is to empower youth to create local communities. I don't think that I remember exactly what that was. And then saying by,
By
you know, creating and supporting mentorships.
yeah, okay, switching it around, good idea.
What that does is that really leads with kind of that vision, right? Like, and that's really a hook at the beginning of saying, hey, we're hooking you in to what the vision is that we have. And then we're going to tell you how we're going to achieve that vision.
Okay.
Where if the other way, what happens is that sometimes the vision gets lost, right? If we talk about kind of what we do first, the vision gets lost in where we want to go. And oftentimes people, when they hear that, they hear kind of the pieces of what we do. And unfortunately, in the mentoring world, kind of people have these presuppositions of what mentoring is, and they have their own idea. And so that's going to get lost before we're like, hey, we want to create community change. And this is how we're going to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Megan, I want to share that when you said create, that resonated with me. And it's so much stronger as I was trying to write that I help people. But anyway, that was a verb that had something very specific and profound to it.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie.
That's wonderful. Any other last thoughts? I know that it's 1:30, so we're going to end in just a minute. But any last thoughts? Yeah, Susan.
Yeah, I would say I consider myself to be a pretty good writer, and this was hard. So I'm gonna put some thought into this. I was surprised how stumped I was when I actually had to write it on paper.
It is not easy, trust me. And in 30 minutes, kind of teaching and having you do it and jumping in, like it is very, very difficult. It takes a lot of time and revisions. So what I would encourage you to do is to take this and to, say it to other people. Kind of go around and talk to other people about it and say, what did you get from this? Did you understand it? Did you not? How did it go? And then, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. Here is my, of course, like now I've clicked away from everything, but here's my information. Feel free to email me at chris@mentorconnector.com. You'll also, I believe, get these slides. We can put them all up, and I think this whole thing is being recorded as well, so you can come back and revisit this. But this is just a quick overview to help you see, okay, what is it that you do, and how do you create community change? Personally or professionally, and how do you really encourage somebody and empower them to want to join with you within the first 2 minutes of meeting you? So it's just a brief overview. So it is after 1:30, so thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, I'll stick around for a couple minutes, or you can feel free to email me. But thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. And if you all want to have Chris work with you in your organization, you have the ability to talk to, if you contact me, we can set up a way in which you can actually have him work for you for like 20 hours or so over the course of 6 months, or more concise, and not have to pay for it. And he actually gets paid to do this work through a federal grant. So if you want to work with Chris more on these things or have other aspects you need help with, definitely reach out and we can support you with that.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.